So, there we are. That was number 2. Moving on to number 3. And let me just remind you also. So, 30 different startups here on stage, and lots of different sections, which would be relevant for you. So, at the moment, clearly we have fintech and payment. We also have advertising, marketplaces a little bit later on, restaurant solutions, consumer apps and products. However, also within those, there may be a few startups that don't really fall into any of those categories, but actually have a slot today as well. Okay, number 3. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the third pitch up here on the startup stage, and that is very simply Kantox. Put your hands together for Kantox.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. It's really good to see the health of fintech today in this room and the interest for it. Let me introduce myself. My name is Antonio Rami. Please call me Tony. We are today in family. I come from Palma de Mallorca. You hopefully come to talk to me afterwards because of Kantox, but come also for tips on the island. Great place to visit. I'm proud and aboriginal from the island. Well, good morning to everybody. As said, I'm the founder of Kantox. We'll talk about it right now. And hopefully I can give you a good insight on what have we been doing and how we are changing this curious and very exciting industry. Well, just to set your expectations low at the very beginning, what we do is we are a marketplace for foreign exchange for businesses. Nothing too exciting so far. You say, why is this guy here? Where is this guy? No. Well, let's try to put it up a little bit. And what we do foreign exchange the way it will be done in the future. We call it tomorrow because we like it always to be evolving. You've probably seen a claim like that in many other industries, but we truly believe we are changing it and we are doing differently. And although you might have seen a lot, and this is going to be another one who is claiming there is no commissions or stuff like this, I hope by the end of this presentation you really can appreciate what we do different. Before Kantox, what we had is, I was just mentioning, right? And there's no commission thing. It's so easy to do a currency transaction. It's so free, and you just feel it, right? When you do a transaction with the bank, you say, that was too easy. They say there was no cost. And of course, you feel like someone robbed your wallet. And not only, I mean, we are on the business side, but you clearly feel it when you go to an airport, for example. I always say you have these NGOs at the airports where they wait for you. They are open 24 hours. There's no commission. And they just hug you and say, yeah, come change your money for free in here. Well, this is not how it works. And you know, and it doesn't take to be, you don't need to be a mathematician to know that you're being robbed in there. Well, after Kantox, what we do at Kantox is actually an invoice for every foreign currency transaction that you do with us. We actually charge you, but we recognize it. We are not ashamed of doing so because our people has the bad habit of wanting a salary at the end of the month. And usually business understand that. The advantage of making that invoice is I don't need to have a person on the phone detecting whether you're an expert in FX or not, whether you have comparing with them or not, whether you're in a rush or not. And then, if one of these situations happen, is when you probably you get spread out. And probably you say, oh, I have very good conditions with my bank. Well, just wait for you not to do the transaction. Or just wait for any of these situations that I explained before to happen, and then the conditions are not so good. Well, since, again, I'm making an invoice, I'm saying very clearly what I charge. I don't need to have a person picking up the phone and doing that. We made it to the moon. You can close an FX transaction on the internet. It's not that difficult. And that actually led us to identify something very interesting, which was we can do something else. We can go a little bit further than just closing a transaction on the phone. We can help companies understand foreign exchange for them. Usually currencies are a problem for a business, and I get that a lot. They come to me and say, no, I want to do everything in euros or in pounds because I just don't want the mess of the currencies. People, currencies are like languages. With English, you can probably go anywhere. With the dollar, you can probably go anywhere. But if you speak the local language, your chances of selling more just increased. Your chances of getting a better price from your suppliers just increased. And this is what we do. We understand businesses, we understand how they operate and how currencies affect them. It's not the same for me to go to sell to Norway if I sell in Norwegian crowns than if I sell in euros. And with a platform, with a tool, what you can do is actually understand how the exposure affects you. You can understand how the selling in different currencies or buying in different currencies affects your business, how you need to do your pricing to your clients, if you're able to change it every day, if you need to have a fixed price for the year. This is what the tool helps you understand, helps you build. We actually end up building FX policies for companies. Something that is not that common, unfortunately, and when it happens, it's just somewhere there that you have this policy in a drawer, but it's actually not being executed. And with Kantox, and what you do is automate them. We create policies for those businesses that actually go up to the board level. Those boards approve those policies, and we can automate those transactions. And then is when the policies, you make sure they are respected. This is when you make sure you're not losing money because of the currencies. This is when you make sure that your prices you build for your clients are competitive, aligned with the ethics, and not you losing money, and not you having to put 5%, or not usually PSPs charging crazy money to do these conversions. We understand how it affects business, we plug into them, and that a bank doesn't do it. And that a broker doesn't do it. And again, we're going to discuss on how to manage this exposure, on how to manage your business with currencies, and we are not going to be fighting like with all my respects and care, in Morocco, just negotiating carpets. It doesn't have to work like this. We can have a long-term vision and say, let's fix the price, this is competitive, this is good. Now what is important, when you reduce the cost, is when to do the transactions, how to take the decisions. And we need to base it scientifically. We need to base it on how the rate moves for you to do a transaction, not just because it's Monday and then I trade. And this is kind of a sum up of the tools that we use for companies to do it. How we do it on the back end, in our kitchen, is quite simple. Since we have companies selling one currencies and other companies buying those currencies, what we do is we just match them. Easy, no? We have a guy here selling dollars because he sells in the US, and we have here in Asia buying dollars, we match that. But of course you cannot get full liquidity for everything. So what we just do is we find liquidity providers to match to the wholesale market with us buying billions, so with really, really great conditions, and we pass that to the business. And again, charging very transparently. So far, Kantox, we're quite happy with the result. I still feel that we are dropping the ocean, but we started really in 2012. We reached the first billion in transactions this January, and we reached the second billion in transactions in September, close to 2.5 by now. So the growth has been pretty good. A lot of repeating businesses, which is the good part of the business, and very, very loyal because, again, you are adding a lot of value, not only on the price, you are adding value to the operations. For you to show you some numbers, I already spoiled the 2 billion, but we are too proud of it and we say it too quickly. But you see here the typical transaction is 100K, so it's really business transaction, but we gained the trust of companies, and someone did, for instance, a payment of 33 million euros, which is not bad for a single payment, right? There are not so many of this size. But again, it's businesses, the regulation, how we do operations, we really develop a lot of trust and up to these levels, which I think is relevant. We have right now close to 2,000 customers, and just to give you an example, just on the saving, not on the optimizing, but just on the saving, we can be saving even €500,000 to a company. So it's quite relevant money. In terms, we are VC backed in terms of investment. We've closed our Series B this April, and in total we've raised close to 18 million euros. And to our future plans is, as I told you, what we do is we basically automate and make sure this transaction happen not with a human touch of someone calling and wanting to close a transaction, but doing it automatically. For that we have an API that integrates with custom systems, with travel agencies, with many different sectors. And what we want to do is build that API and make sure we can pull the data from treasury systems and actually convert these pieces of software in real frictionless transaction system to do payments and transactions. We're definitely looking very much into expanding the US, and Asia is also an interesting market for us, and definitely where we want to go. And well, just put here a quote, but really wanting you as clients for your businesses to come to us and say, I want to save money and I want to optimize and control my risk. This is what I had to explain for today. Remember, come to Mallorca and come talk to me about Kantox. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kantox.